Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So what are we doing here today?
Okay, that's one of the many systems we put together. And this one is based on analog source versus a digital source, not for comparative reasons, but just to show the people what the top of the tree for both of them are. So we've got here Mark Doman, which, as you know, is the founder of Doman Audio. And he's showing his turntable here as one of the sources, which is the brand new Helix One in its Mark III version. I'm bringing in this equation a beautiful phono stage from Switzerland, as you know, the HSC, which is a very rare and high precision piece. The preamp is a Dalziel preamp. On the digital front end, so all that, obviously, this part all goes into the Dalziel preamp. And then we've got a pure Vivaldi stack, including transport, which is in its apex version, the later and the better, sort of reestablishing the strong status of DCS being the #1 digital company in the world. The speakers we're using today are Magicos A5s.
Right. And the amplifiers?
It's a Dalziel monos.
Okay. Ricardo, just introduce you. It's Mark from Doman Audio.
Yes.
And hi, I'm Alan. And yeah, talk us through the Helix One.
Okay, thank you, Alan. This is the Helix One in the Mark III version. So we initially launched the product in 2015 in May in Munich show, and it's been through two system changes since then. The Mark III has a new clamp technology, which we're very excited about. It's a dual mode clamp. The previous system was just a pressure clamp. This has actually got some smarts inside, designed to absorb the vibration that occurs from needle chatter in a groove across the surface of the record. The whole premise of the architecture of the Helix system is a very, very low frequency isolation system using negative stiffness. It's called -K, comes from a Californian company, and it's predominantly used under electron microscopes and atomic force microscopes in laboratories and engineering facilities. And the magic thing that it does is it cleans the image up. And why is the image being blurred? It's because of vibration that is evident in concrete structures, in engineering facilities. It comes from air conditioning, it comes from traffic. One of our customers was doing what they call LIGO, which is a laser interferometry work looking for gravity waves. And they were complaining about trucks on a highway 2 kilometres away causing blurring in the interference patterns they measure. And with a -K under that system, all of a sudden their imaging cleaned up. And the logic was, well, if it works for them, it should work for a record player. And it turns out a cartridge can produce signals approaching that of violet light. So you could say the cartridge is an atomic device. And the benefit of isolating it from structure-borne vibrations is a cleaning up of the signal. You hear it in the bass. We hand over to what we call a mechanical crossover to a plate system that's designed inside. Each plate is tuned to do a particular task. One plate mounts the motor, which is on exactly the same plane as the bearing. And the idea behind that is you don't get the yawing effects that belt drives who have a suspension system with an outboard motor are prone to. We mount the motor very, very close to the bearing to give a short belt, which means our drive technology is very, very torquey. It gives a lot of people who love idler wheel drives, really love the prat that a Helix can deliver. Direct drive guys love the fact that it's got that amount of torque, but they say that it's got more fluidity. And that's what the benefit of a belt system can deliver, is its error correction is a 10-to-1 ratio into a single rotation of the platter. So one error in the motor would only translate to a tenth of what it would if we used it as a direct drive. Same system. The other part of the architecture is we isolate the arm board even further. It's floating within the chassis technology, but it's geometrically locked with a series of magnets. So that again reduces the noise that a bearing and a motor can deliver to the bottom of an arm board. So that disconnect allows for a freeing up of the sound. The sonic goal of the turntable was to play complex passages of music, either classical or heavy rock or something, and I always felt other turntables that I was using collapsed the sound when it got busy, and I wanted to hear the record without that process affecting it. So this turntable has a sonic presentation. It allows scale to occur, and it seems to have no limit. And we've got some music that we can play after Frankie Goes to Hollywood at full tilt on the system. It's just spectacular. So it can play difficult passages with ease. And it can take two arms. At the moment we're pairing it with the Reed 5A, which is a pivoted to linear converting arm, made in Lithuania, and a coral stone cartridge from Japan, Koetsu, and that is not your grandfather's Koetsu. Yeah. It's got dynamics in spades. So yeah, that's the entry to the Helix world.
So shall we play a little bit of music?
Yeah, sure. Just one last thing. So it's designed and built in Australia?
Yes.
Fantastic. Just because...
long way away. So...
But American cousins will think you're English because they can't quite tell the distinction. Right. Yeah,
so... well, I mean, the minus K comes from California, the motor comes from Switzerland, so it is a global effort. But we proudly supported in Australia to play around with music.
Hey, good afternoon again. Well, listen, here we're in another one of our suites with people waiting patiently, and thank you for waiting another couple of minutes. We've done another system here. You know, like Pedro and I, we're always building up these systems in our heads, and then we try them in the studio, and we're always trying to break the boundaries, you know, and to get to one step further than we were before. So this system is the first appearance of the, well, second appearance, but really first in a public show of the Wilson Alexia V. Alexia V sits number 1, 2, 3, fourth in the range from the top. So you've got the big Grand Slams or the big, whams, and then you've got the XVX, which is quite a tall speaker. Then you've got the Alex V, and the Alexia V is the one that comes above the Sasha. So it's nicely positioned. It probably fits very much better than some of the bigger ones in UK homes because of the size. Some people can't really afford the space. Sometimes they even have the money, but they don't have the space to do it. So this comes as a very good compromise. And we've done a complete audio research-based system, reference 6 and reference 160 monos. Again, very simple, one set of cables, all from transparent. We really believe in that concept that you should not mix too many cables in the system. In actual fact, I challenge anybody to bring me a 25,000 pounds loom of cables, of mixed cables, and we'll find them from another brand, not necessarily a 12,500 pounds loom in another brand, but that is continuous, meaning from mains to speaker cable, all the same brand. Mixing is very poor idea. It's like trying 6 types of vinegars, 3 types of oil, and making a salad. It doesn't work. Good afternoon again, Alan. Thank you for popping by. Here we have a system that is got some objects that come from the 10 collection at Absolute Sounds. They're not in the 10 collection because 10 collection will only keep their reference from the brand, sure. Meaning that we've got Dome and Helix 1, for example, in the 10 collection, but Helix 2 moves to wider audience sure. in Absolute Sounds. And so the same applies for the Rhapsody. Rhapsody comes from Trafomatic, and Trafomatic are obviously in 10 with the Elysium amplifier, and we thank you again for the award, well-deserved award, I must say, that you gave them this year or last year. So we have decided to bring the SE the 300B integrated from them, called the Rhapsody. I don't think if we use the word sexy, it's as sexy as they can come. And it comes from the soul and the engineering of a musician rather than an audio engineer. So you'll find there's a sort of a professional look to it as well, but the way he perceives sounds, he perceives it more from the pro world than the audiophile world, shall we say. Not that, you know, there's anything wrong with audiophile, but it's a very more radical approach. He gets quite a lot of output out of his tubes. He's got incredible handmade transformers. Well, what can I say? It's the Rhapsody, and people shouldn't get scared because it's under 20,000 pounds.
Okay.
The speakers we're using as well are from the 10 collection, as such as that they're the O93s, the Orangutans O93s. As you know, that's another artisan, and John DeVore is another musician. I only find out today, I'm really embarrassed. He probably I think he's a drummer, or I forgot. Drummer. Is it? Drummer. Anyway, drummer, I've got a Trafomatic guitar player. He's the Ronnie Wood of Serbia. You know, he's really very high up with the guitar playing. And John DeVore. What do they share in common, these two brands? It's artisanal products. It's almost built by the man himself. In actual fact, Trafomatic, the big ones, is built by the man himself, I know it. And John DeVore has probably got a cup of help, and imagine this little atelier in the middle of Brooklyn and in New York. So it's a very much more going back to the roots type of aspect. The downside to it with John DeVore is you have to wait quite some times. And the beauty of is that you're given a unique choice of woods. So you will get a sample, and or you will choose a color. He's got some really exotic woods. And the sound is very much, we can't compare it to your normal standards. Is that correct, Steve? It's very much a nostalgia type of sound, you know, but nostalgia with a touch of punk to it as well. So it can play, but it feels very much like a time traveling back to the 70s, you know. That's, you know, and I think it's a gorgeous product, and we've had incredible comments at this show so far. So we're very proud to have them. And as I say, it doesn't clash with any of our loudspeaker brands because it's a very different type of...
Which model DeVore is this?
O93.
O93. Thank you very much.